You ever have a day where you're ankle deep in mud holding a basket of duck eggs and you find a ransom note duct taped to your own front gate, signed by a man who thinks the word president on an HOA letterhead gives him dominion over the planet? Yeah, that happened to me. And let me tell you right up front, if the White Bluff Preserve HOA thought they were going to scare off the one farmer in Idaho too stubborn to quit, they picked the wrong man. I didn't move out here to play cowboy or chase some Green Acres fantasy. I was just plain tired. Tired of traffic, tired of those office chairs that squeak whenever someone from HR leans in to tell you about team synergy, tired of checking Slack at midnight like my bonus depended on it. So 5 years ago, I sold my condo in Boise, cashed out my stock options, and bought myself 12 acres of wind dirt and blessed quiet just outside the reach of anything called a subdivision. No HOA, no neighbors, just sky for days. Heaven, I thought. Maybe I jinxed it. First thing I built was the barn, more like a bunker, really. Steel ribs, concrete foundation doors that'd hold back a stampede or maybe a small war. It housed everything that mattered: my tools, my tractors, my generator, even a year's worth of grain I couldn't eat but liked knowing I had. After that, I put in a wind turbine, a solar grid dug out a pond that liked to go green every July, and finally a little farmhouse with a wraparound porch. Nothing fancy, but every nail was mine. And then that letter. Folded neat duct tape to my gate like a ransom demand from the queen of the cul-de-sac. White Bluff Preserve HOA. I'd heard the name fancy place up on the ridge with fake lakes and mailbox parties where everyone acts like they enjoy Karen from Lot 27's Discount Pinot. Never cared, never crossed my mind until now. The letter was printed on thick, pretentious paper, embossed at the top like a wedding invite. It started all neighborly integration and switched real quick to legalese. My barn apparently didn't comply with the regional zoning aesthetics and might pose safety concerns to adjacent residential areas. Adjacent. My closest neighbor's a deer. Voluntary deconstruction or architectural compliance within 60 days. Signed Ronald Patcham, president of White Bluff. The guy even left his cell number. I laughed out loud, boots, muddy duck eggs in hand. My land wasn't under their jurisdiction. I checked 3 times before I bought it. Even framed the original plat map in my office just to be safe. I ignored it. Week later, new envelope, this one from County Zoning Certified Mail. No laughing this time. According to their records, my barn may overlap a municipal buffer zone. No fines, but a warning could be public land improperly surveyed in 1986. And attached to that notice, the HOA's complaint. I read that part twice, set my coffee down, and stared at the grit in the bottom of my cup, thinking maybe, just maybe, peace was over. 2 days later, county truck rolls up 2 guys with vests, a clipboard, a GoPro strapped to one like he's on reality TV. Didn't knock, just started measuring. I walked out, keeping it polite, not smiling. "Gentlemen, can I help you?" GoPro guy barely looking up zoning review. Public inquiry submitted by local homeowners association. Your barn may overlap residual municipal land. I crossed my arms. You mean that strip of dirt behind my compost pile no one's touched since Reagan? He shrugs. If you're 13 feet over, it's an encroachment. Technically. That word again, technically. Could mean demolition. Depends what the commissioner decides. Funny how this only became a problem after White Bluff planted their shrubs next door. That night I sat in the barn drinking a beer, rain tapping on the tin roof, everything smelling like diesel and dried corn. I looked at the back wall, my boundary lines marked 5 years ago. Nothing had moved. But now someone wanted to redraw them. I didn't sleep much, ordered a topographic survey next morning. Wasn't about to let a guy with a GoPro decide what was mine. My buddy from Twin Falls, a surveyor, came out, spent 6 hours walking my land precision like a sniper. Handed me the results with a wince, 13 feet. That was it. 13 godforsaken feet on the back side of the barn residual parcel land lost in a paperwork shuffle from the 80s. County doesn't care until somebody complains. And now somebody had. That evening, email from my lawyer, Helen. Calm, sharp, the kind who can make injunctions sound like a threat. She saw the notice. "We'll handle it," she said. "Don't talk to the HOA, everything through me. Only the HOA didn't want a lawyer. They wanted a loophole." 3 days later, I find a glossy flyer in my mailbox renderings of the Preserve Expansion Project. Pastel Family's fake lakes, a Phase 3 buffer trailhead right through my back fence. Oh, they were already counting my land as theirs. Helen filed a counter notice with the survey demanded proof of any official claim. County sent back the usual under review brush off. That's when Patcham himself shows up on my porch. Windbreaker perfect jeans, handshake like a used car salesman. "Mr. Jensen, let's be neighborly. We can resolve this without lawyers." I told him, "You're not my neighbor, you're my problem." He grinned. "Boundaries shift. The county's reevaluating parcels. You sell us 20 feet along your back line, we'll take care of the rest." I stared at his little contract. "And if I don't?" He smiled real slow. "Zoning board will do their job. Hate to see your barn condemned." I shut the door in his face. That night Helen called, she dug up more. Patcham sits on the county's Land Use Advisory Committee, influences policy. Figures. 2 days later, my friend at the assessor's office, Jeff, slips me a PDF. Draft proposal. White Bluff Preserve Eco Park. My land labeled Public Access Corridor. Metadata. Authored by R. Patcham. They'd written my farm into their future, didn't even bother to hide it. I drove into town, pulled every public land record I could find, connected the dots. They wanted a fight. Well, I'd learned a few tricks in corporate. Every zoning complaint, every friendly visit, it was all part of the setup, a land grab dressed up as community enrichment. The next morning I started hunting. Found a parcel county owned just under an acre bordering my disputed strip, scheduled for auction as surplus. I registered through my LLC, put in a sealed bid just above market, and waited. 3 days later, county calls. "You're the only bidder. Parcel 88 was mine, including the disputed ground behind my barn. When the deed arrived, I walked the perimeter, checked the old utility building inside a basement full of county zoning records, annotated maps, notes from the 70s. I was standing in the nerve center of the very bureaucracy trying to bury me, and now I had the keys. Helen filed a legal notice. Mr. Jensen owns the land. Zoning complaint is now trespass. I had her send copies everywhere. Zoning board, planning commission, White Bluff. I pictured Patcham choking on his green juice reading it. But they didn't quit. They doubled down, filed a lawsuit, called me strategically manipulative, ethically incompatible. Helen actually laughed. "They're mad you outplayed them." Then came the threats, a lawsuit by courier demanding my land public apology damages for disrupting community cohesion. I framed it right next to the deed. Then they tried arson. 1 a.m. motion sensor catches a figure in a hoodie by the old utility building, flames flicker. I run out, extinguisher in one hand, shotgun in the other, put out the fire before it spreads. Cameras caught everything. The guy limped and had a White Bluff sticker on his truck. Turns out he was the son of an HOA board member. Police picked him up. Local news called me for comment. "Guess they ran out of legal arguments and reached for matches," I said. Story hit the news. Farmer fights HOA land grab. Public opinion shifted. Helen filed with the State Ethics Commission, Patcham's fingerprints all over the bank loan, the development plan, even the HOA complaint letters. Cherry on top, a whistleblower at Blue Horizon Group sent us proof Patcham leveraged $800,000 using projected value from my property. That's fraud, not just creative governance. The Attorney General opened a case. By then, the HOA sent in a mediator, wanted a good faith pedestrian easement. I showed him the arson footage. No more negotiation. HOA cranked up the crazy. County cited me for running an unapproved grain operation. I had 3 ducks, 2 tractors, and a compost heap. Not exactly big ag. Helen said, "They're desperate, throw something back." So I filed for trespass and damages, set up live cameras, streamed it all as zoning gatewatch. Within 48 hours, 12,000 views, news interviews. Other farmers chimed in with their own HOA horror stories. White Bluff HOA call it a public meeting, restore good faith. Helen begged me not to go. I'll behave, I lied. The place was packed. Patcham looked pale, less sure. He tried to spin it as misunderstandings. I walked up, plugged in my projector, first slide, his internal park plan, with my property labeled public access. Second, his loan documents all signed. Third, photo of the zoning building now with my name on it. So when were you planning to tell your members you mortgaged land you don't own, tried to build through my barn, then sent someone to burn the evidence? Silence. I left them sitting in it. Fallout was swift emergency board meeting. 3 resignations, state ethics inquiry letters landing like subpoenas from a war crime tribunal. Patcham still clung to his title. Then another health and safety complaint accusing my pond of pollution. Helen had it tossed in 2 days and found out the inspector was Patcham's niece's husband. They weren't hiding the corruption anymore, just getting sloppy. Meanwhile, the arsonist turned informant. Said Patcham promised legal cover if he scared me. Helen petitioned the court for discovery into the HOA's finances, traced money to a Nevada LLC. Registered agent Patcham. He'd been running private contracts through the HOA, lining his own pockets. We sent it all to HUD and the IRS. Even Patcham's lawyer ditched him. Local farmers, landowners, even realtors started using my newly acquired utility building turned archive like a free land record office. I put up folding chairs, scanned the old maps, called it the Free Soil Office. The very spot they tried to burn was now the heart of their exposure. Then one morning, envelope with a federal seal. State Attorney General's Office, formal charges, fraud, conspiracy, misuse of position, 12 counts. Patcham was indicted. HOA's insurance dropped them. Couldn't pay lawyers, couldn't function. They called a vote. I almost skipped it, but Helen made me go. The same clubhouse now full of people who looked like they hadn't slept. The old woman who used to glare at me actually stood up and said, "We lost our way." The vote was nearly unanimous. White Bluff HOA, dissolved assets, frozen, future park project dead. On my way out, sunsetting, I stopped at the Free Soil Office, solar lights, humming, people inside sorting records, a high school teacher scheduling a civics project. I hung a sign on the barn last week, big, carved by hand. This ain't a park. This ain't a preserve. This is a farm. Show respect or turn around. Underneath in smaller letters, zoned. Indestructible. So here's my question. When power grabs, wear a friendly face. How far would you go to defend your own line in the dirt? Let me know in the comments. And if you've ever tangled with an HOA, I want to hear your story. And hey, subscribe if you think more farmers ought to know their rights before some HOA lawyer tries to plant a picnic table on their land.